Welcome to Macrocode, and today we are going to learn about inheritance in C#. Inheritance in C#. So from our previous videos, we learned about classes and objects. So today we are going to learn about inheritance in C#. So in object-oriented programming in general, inheritance is another type of relationship between classes. So this is one way of creating relationships between classes. It is just a mechanism of reusing functionalities of one class into another class. So reusing functionalities of one class to another class. So inheritance is often referred to as is a relationship. So it actually is a relationship. So in real world, a customer, can take an example here. A customer is actually a person. Same way, a student is also a person. The reason here is that they have some common things. So they share some common things. For example, a customer and a student, they both have first name. They can have middle name. They have last name. They have gender. They have age. So to translate these into object-oriented programming, we create a person class. So we can just create a class. Let me create it as a new, create it as a new file. Class called person. You can also refer to our previous videos on how to create classes and objects. So public class person. So this class has attributes. So which is the first name. So this is a first name. Person has middle name. Person has last name. Last name. Person also has age. This is integer. Call it age. Person also has gender. So these are attributes of a person. These are like properties. Now these attributes can be inherited by the customer and a student, and even an employee is also a person. So you don't have to create the same properties when defining customer, student, and employee classes. So these, when you recreate these, you will be actually violating the dry principle. So when I talk about dry principle, we call it dry principle. So this is actually in full means do not repeat yourself. So because a person has these attributes, that is the property, first name, middle name, last name, age, and gender. When you are creating classes such as customer, student, and employee classes, you don't have to repeat this. So Note that the inheritance can only be used with related classes, where they should have some common behaviors and properties. So, because we have created a class person, let's just say we want full name, string full name. This is equals to, so here full name is composed of first name and middle name, and so that is how you define full name and last name. Then we close this. So our full name will be having the middle name, first name, middle name, and last name. So we can create a class called person. No. We can create a class called employee. So remember, an employee is a person, employee, and they have some attributes. They share some common properties with person, public. So we have these here. So the person class in our case is actually the base class. So we call this the base class or the parent class. And the employee that we have just created is called the derived class or the child class. So the employee inherits some properties from the person class. And so it automatically acquires all the public members of the person class. So these are the class members. So it acquires all the members of the parent class. So it means even if the employee class do not include first name, last name properties, and full name, an object of employee will be actually having all the properties and the methods of the person class. So for us to inherit the members of the person class, we use a full column in front of the employee class, then you type in person. So we have actually inherited all the properties of the parent class, and I've just indicated that this is a derived class or a child class. So employees are derived class from a person class. So we can actually now create an object from the employee class. You can say employee. You can call it macro code. So new. So this is, we are trying to create an object. So we can actually access the properties of a person. So if I say macro code, so this is our object dot macro code. We say, sorry, macro code the first name is equals to person. Yeah, so if we say employee, so we create a class called macro code and we try to access these properties of a person. So you can see here we are getting an error. That means our properties, that is the attributes in the person class, are not accessible. So we need to provide the access modifiers. So refer to our previous videos for the access modifiers. So you need to have this public to be accessed outside the class. Public, public, public. Yeah, so we need to have these as a public with access modifier public. Refer to our previous videos for access modifiers. So here you can see we can now have macro code first name. Then here we can first not going through class should be public. Okay, so we have created a public a parent class called person with attributes such as first name, middle name, last name, age, gender, and full name. So we are creating also a class called person employee with so we have this class called employee which inherits the attributes from the parent class, which is a person. So we want to so the person class has the first name, middle name attributes. So employee, because employees is a person, it shares the same attributes, some attributes and behaviors of a person. So we can create a new object called employee. Then inside our constructor, so this is a constructor. So you can see you can access the first name from the parent class, first name. You can also do the same for the full name. So you can see, so we can actually assign these to values. Macro, macro code. So employee, full name, first name. You can say last name. Say macro code. Then age. This is an integer. 30. Then gender. Can say it's male. So as you can see, we are using the attributes of the parent class that has been inherited by the child or the derived class, the employee. So, and to access this, we are making use of the access modifiers. So access modifiers plays an important role in inheritance. Access modifiers of each member in the base class. The base class is the person class. So these access modifiers plays a very vital role in inheritance. So it actually impacts the accessibility in the derived class, that is in the employee class. So we can also create another class called student. So student is actually a person. So we have this as public. So we can have a constructor, public student. So we can instantiate our object student new, student stud. Then we say, so we can actually do this. You can either create new student, or in .NET 7, you can actually do away with this. Then you just say new. So that's also fine. So as you can see, if we try to access the properties of a person here, dot first name equals to John. So you see we have an error because this property cannot be found. So if we just now inherit all the attributes of a person, so that's how you do the inheritance. So you can see our error is gone. So you can also do the same for the middle name. You can also do the same for the last name, Mike, Jesse. So we can also do the same for the age. So this is an integer, 30. Then we can also do the same for the gender. So you can see we have, so in inheritance, access modifiers plays a vital role. And you can see this is how you do the inheritance. So a student is actually a person. So we intend to reuse the attributes of a person inside a student. So if we just introduce another attribute in the person class. Here we can say, let's say we have another property can be can say it height. You can say height. So if we go to our child classes, we can still access the height attribute. There we are. You can see 30 feet. These are just examples. Inside our student class, you can still access the height. So this is 30 feet. So this is how inheritance is done in C#. So in the person class, we have the access modifiers, these ones, public. So this is actually defines the accessibility of the class members. So if we have the private members of the base class, it cannot be accessed directly from the derived class or the child class and cannot be part of the derived class. You can also have the protected members of the base class, which can be accessed in the derived class but cannot be part of the derived class. So that is how you create inheritance. So in our previous videos also we looked into the constructors. So creating an object of the derived class will first call the constructor of the base class and then the derived class. If there are multiple levels of inheritance, then the constructor of the base class will be called, and then the second base class, and so on. So as we have just seen, we have derived, so this is the constructor of the child class. So you can also have the constructor of the parent class here, person. So you can have these at the top here. So that is it. So this is the constructor of this is the person constructor. And this is the employee constructor, and you have the student constructor here. So you use the base keyword in the derived class to access the public members of the base class. So that is how we have done inheritance. So in case of any question, you can comment down below and remember to subscribe. So we will be looking on the other sections, and so in case of any comment, remember to subscribe and actually share feedback. So see you in our next videos, and we appreciate for your support. Bye.